name is Pavlo. I'm originally from Ukraine. I've been living in the United States since 2008, and since 2009 I'm working in this business, in trucking business. So it's going to be almost 17 years. I have a two education. I'm a lawyer in Ukraine, and I have an MBA here in the United States. And I'm managing the PAVA Logistics since 2011. We opened the company back then with I had a partner, and we started with one truck in 2011, and slowly added more trucks along the way. We more like we don't really grow aggressively. We measure our risk and trying to grow slowly, but no matter the market condition, we grow in 10-15% every year. We don't aim to grow like 200-300%. We just make sure we understand our risks, and we always thinking how to hedge our risks around. And that's why we not trying to, when we grow, and we taking into consideration the leverage, the debt. That's why we can grow that fast. And around 200 trucks and 220 trailers. We have about 70% are dry-van and 30% of flatbeds. We don't do any reefers and step decks, only the flatbeds and dry-vans. The trucks, the oldest truck in our fleet is 2022, which we right now selling most of the 2022, and we keeping in this fleet only 23 and above. So we're trying to keep our fleet with newer trucks. So that's why we can reduce our cost, especially when the truck is break down on the road. And the trailers, we basically don't have any, almost no older trailer than 2022. A couple, maybe two most important lessons. First of all, there are big pie that we don't compete between ourselves because the pie is very big. So there are a lot of loads that's going to be sufficient for every company. What we compete between each ourselves is the cost. So if I have a cost $1.40 or $1.50 and you have a cost of $1.70 per mile, eventually you're going to be out of the business, because I have a $1.40 and you have a $1.70. Or if you have a $2 per mile, eventually somebody's going to squeeze you out. So we don't compete between who has a better rate per mile, but who has the lowest rate per mile, because this is something that you have 100% control pretty much. But the rate per mile is very hard to compete, because the switching cost for the broker or customer is very low, so he can switch from one carrier to another carrier without losing nothing. So this is the two main lesson. Just the pie is very big. You can grow, but the second lesson, you have to watch your cost. That's probably more important lesson for myself. So always watch the cost. Always watch what kind of loan agreement you're signing. If you have a 9% APR or you have a 6%, if you can negotiate with the bank, you always negotiate. If a bank comes to me and say, "Hey Pavlo, I can give you 9%, ask another bank if you give you 6% APR for the trucks, so you can save the cost." If you can, at the down payment, because you have to have a long strategic view how to develop your company. If you planning to add this year 100 trucks and put 0 down payment on every truck and trailer, eventually you will be out of the business. It's just a matter of time. You can survive, but only if you have a very, very efficient management and efficient infrastructure this is, you can survive, but it's gonna be very, very complicated. So what I would advise everybody who enter in this business, and based on my experience, to make sure that if you're buying the equipment, please buy with more down payment. Try to buy with more cash, so you don't worry about the future day. So your cost is low, you don't pay banks, you pay it yourself.
The hardest ones are at the beginning, when you're just trying to think of some simple stuff, and then it's always something that you could not be thinking about at the beginning, that hitting you and smashing all your expectations, with the situation. So that coming to the point where you just, like right now, you must count your risk and be able to handle any risks, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, and you cannot be sure that whatever you planned already is going to happen. This is probably the biggest lesson, that doesn't matter how hard you try and how much data you're gonna collect and expertise, something can happen from outside, and then it's gonna change everything. So you just need to be flexible.
I'm talking about the people, the owners out of Eastern Europe. They are leveraging the companies too much. So for example, right, if you have $100 in the value of the truck and you're leveraging $100 in debt, that's a bad idea. Let's say Yellow Corp, Yellow Trucking, the big company in the United States. So they have $15 in debt out of 100. $15. So basically 85 they put their own cash. Of course they can attract the capital from different sources, right? They can attract from the investors, from banks who's very low, but they put in a lot of cash when they buy the equipment, only 15%. I try to keep this ratio about 60% on the trucks, and if you keep it below 70, that's always the best. The trucks you have to keep below 50%. So on my trucks I have a 40%. So basically 60% of the trailers are with cash, or 40% are with leveraged. So this is the biggest, I think, problems with trucking company that's basically have the very similar business model as mine, as PAVA Logistics, right? Because we are basically very similar.
First of all, it doesn't really matter how many trucks in there. It's just building your inside model, how you resolving some of the cases, for example, right? And how you're going to deal with 200 trucks is probably the most important part. Is your first 50 trucks, how you're dealing with them, right? Because back then it's a little bit easier, and it's like direct connection. So whatever you see right here, and then you want to change something, it's very easy to change, And when you have 200 trucks, it's not that easy, because there is a lot of people that are still on the a lot of people that thinks the original way. And when you're trying to change something, you need to make sure that everybody will be on the same page. So that's probably one of the points where it's really like harder, where the trucks count grow. But it's really all about the understanding and building that model, how you see your company work from the ground. Because if you're not gonna be doing everything right, then probably you're not gonna even make it.
We had very hard times in 2019 and 18 when in Q3. So Trump came when Trump was the first president, the leverage a lot. He became the first time he became the president in 2017. In 2016 and 17, the market went up after his tax bill. And in Q2 2018, I saw that we had the issues become a reality, you know, because the market declined, and it was very, very hard. But by 2020 we overhauled the company. I would say by the end of 2019 we overhauled the company, and in 2020 everything went up again, you know. But you know, the biggest lesson I learned, not because the company was going up, but when the company was going down, I saw where you can save it, where you can, what do you have to do. So the lesson when the company is going down, or when the problem arises, that the biggest lesson you can basically have. It's very good when the market is always going up, you know, but this is not going to be the case with the trucking company, because trucking company is very cyclical business, is always up and down. And I think I a little bit disagree that the last 2 years was bad. I think this is because the people keep the cost out of the control. You know, again, if you have a cost $1.50, you're always going to be, you're always going to survive on the market. If you have a trucks paid off, let's say, I know a few companies in Chicago area, over 200 trucks, they have a all cash business. Think about that theoretically. No matter what happened with them, they're always going to be in business, right? Because they can park 300 trucks and go home, and when the business is going to be better, put them back on the road, right? Because they paid off. But you know, I think that's because for the last couple of years, people really, for the last, I would say 4 years after the COVID started, a lot of people thinking it's going to be like this forever, or it's going to be a little bit worse, but not going to be like, you know, like that's bad. And that's why they increased the cost, and they were pushed out of the market. I think 2026 is going to be the same as 2025. It's not going to be any better or any worse than that. I think so. I'm going to be okay. That's going to be like 2025. Think about that. If you have a good market, right? Generally speaking, if you have a good market with $3 per mile, let's say driving, right? It's a very good rate per mile. But then there are another problem for such company like me, how to retain the drivers, right? They started running the companies whoever's gonna give them the best rate per mile, right? They started buying the trucks, leasing the truck. It started the mess, you know. So the good, and plus a lot of people who doesn't understand in this business, they started entering the market. It's create oversupply of capacity, you know. So when you have an oversupply of the capacity, eventually it's going to be a crash. So you better have a stable market. Let's be like this, but stable, you know, not like 2021 we have a $3 per mile, 3.5, and then 2022 we have a $2 or $1.90 per mile, you know. It's very huge, very huge difference. So I would say I hope it's going to be the same, you know, who knows. The consequences of those tariffs that were implemented in August, they're going to kick in. We're going to see the effect of the tariffs, I would say, in Q4, maybe Q1 2026. And, you know, it's adding the pressure to our business because, we're buying the tires, we're buying the brakes, we're buying the parts, and all parts are sources from the Asia. And, you know, but it's not really easy to pass those costs to our customers. So, but again, I hope that it's going to be okay. And we're not planning to grow 200%, probably 10-20% the most. We're going to add another 30-40 trucks, maybe. We'll see. I will see in the Q4 of this year. I hope that those rate cuts that's Fed's going to do at the end of this year. Probably another couple rate cuts going to help to finance a little bit with finances, with the cost of financing, and maybe it's gonna stimulate the market next year. Who knows? I'm buying with cash every fourth. On every other truck I'm putting the down payment at least 20%. Most of my trailer are paid with the cash, right? So my rate per mile, my cost per mile are lower because, you know, if you compare it to anybody else, it could be lower, could be higher, but, you know, average speaking, I think it's lower because I don't pay banks too much interest. This is the first, you know, what we do here. Always we pay our bills on time. So if we agreed with customer to pay him in 10 days, we're gonna pay in 10 days. We don't postpone the bills, and always this is keep ourselves disciplined. The second is, let's say, credit cards. We always pay off our credit cards every month. We don't carry the interest, and also very important, I would say, you know, I'm trying to have my organization very lean. That means that if I have a you know 200 trucks, I have exactly 6-7 mechanics. I don't keep an extra one mechanics because I think that some customer is gonna come and I'm gonna make the money. No, I just keep for my trucks. If the customer is gonna come, I consider this is just an extra job. I can make the money. So I don't really expand the organization with the people that I don't need it. And of course, it's like everybody else here in Chicago or any other states, we keep majority of our office abroad. We offshore in the office. So it means that's about 75% of our office employees, they are located outside the United States. But, you know, I think also the very important, that's myself, you know, I have a moderate salary compared with my friends whom I know, and really I don't live the lavish lifestyle. I enjoy what I have, and you know, and thanks to God, I always, you know, enjoy and satisfied with what I have.
I can tell you about like a lot of other platforms, but we've been working with one older platform, and it was everything like older way, you know. It was pretty simple, and it was okay for those years when we started working with that. But over the time, with the truck growth and innovations and everything around, you know, world's moving forward there every second, and that software was outdated. They didn't really want to change anything, but then we were trying to think like, so first of all, this is a big effort for the company to switch. You know, it's gonna first of all cost a lot of resources, time, money, everything, and it's gonna be pain, that's for sure. But you just want to be you just want to have that vision where you see yourself working in that environment, let's say, right? Like Datatruck, you can do anything there, and you want to be confident that when you're gonna get through that pain and all those efforts, it's gonna be what you wanted at the beginning, right? When we saw Datatruck, it just was like it was mirroring what we're doing. So it was very simple, you know, because there was nothing like over complicated, and whatever you see, you will need it. Whenever you open it up, like first demo or something, we not even demo, like when our friends show us Datatruck, it was very easy to navigate you by yourself, you know, because whatever you see is right there and you understand where it's gonna take you to. So that was the advantage, like the main advantage for us, because the other platforms, they're more kind of probably they're just for different business models, and some different business models would find them useful, some not, you know. But for me, it looks like Datatruck just very good for our business model, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of companies can find it very useful, you know, and easy to go.
It's very well designed for such businesses, for such business model as ours. And I would suggest people who, you know, who has, so I know some people has a pro transport, different programs. I would suggest them to switch. very well organized program, visibility as me as a owner of the company to see what is your real-time rate per mile. I can see which trucks, what is the revenue, what is the lowest 10% percentile of the bottom percentile of the drivers, what is the, you can make the decision very quickly. Say if the driver comes to my office and asks me, hey, Pavlo, I want a couple cents increase. Okay, let me see, how do you compare it to other drivers? And I can see it really quick right away. Just click two buttons and I can see all statistics. I can see how many gross revenue I have, what is my profit per, a weekly, daily, my team, they like these programs so much. They switch so fast that I was really surprised. I was thinking it's gonna take them forever to switch, but they switch like within 2 months. And I recommend this very much.
Nice to have everything linked, and so you can jump to any information you want within a second. So whenever you see let's say some report about the dispatcher's performance and you have drivers in there, and if you just found yourself in the middle of that information about dispatcher's performance, you can easily jump through the driver information and just get in there. You don't need to go back, open another tab or something. You can easily navigate yourself through this platform, and you will be very, very happy.
Personal drivers who wants to become part of our family, we provide very decent salary with very nice and taken care equipment. Anytime you can call us, and we will, if you're a professional driver, we will hire you.